We got stuck on a cliff and they had to have the freaking like rescue center come in and grab us. Like there was like a boat in the water. I think they had a freaking helicopter in the sky, and then they had to like come and put up something so that they could come in and like get us to climb up. That's what happens when I'm trying to show people where to go.
Wait, you and I should never ever travel together. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Certified Oversharer. I'm your host, Samantha Busch, and today we have Ida Zetterström. So if you guys don't know, she has broken so many records as a woman in racing, and now she's here doing NHRA. She's originally from Sweden. She's lived in Finland. We're going to talk all about the differences of moving here to America, her relationships, all sorts of crazy things that happen online, and more. So get ready. This is going to be an awesome episode. So first of all, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Beyond pumped, and I want to dive right into it because we've been obviously researching everything about you, and I find it fascinating that I didn't realize like you haven't been in America that long.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I moved here in February last year, and even then I went back and forth quite a bit. And last year in Europe, I had a lot of work still there, so I went back about 7 times, same time as like being at all the races. So last year was hectic, for sure.
I would say so, because you grew up in Sweden, but you lived in Finland for a while.
Yes, so I was born outside of Stockholm and lived there on about 12 years, and then moved to a small island between Sweden and Finland.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, so only 30,000 people live on that island. It's a really small one.
What is that like?
Well, it feels like you know everybody, even though you don't, but that's kind of how it feels like. And it was awesome, growing up there. It's just very small. And when you're racing and you're traveling a lot, it makes it kind of tough because you always, got to travel first to mainland before you can actually start traveling.
Wow, that's wild. So compare then, because not only did you live, not in America, but you lived on an island and then you came here. So what is that transition like for you?
Oh, it's been like a big transition. And one thing that I noticed now when I drove through here and you can actually see water, that's so peaceful for me. Since I've lived on an island for so long, I saw water every day. Just driving to work, you see water because it's such a small island and you drive over the small bridges and all that. And then I moved to Indiana, and I don't think I've seen water since I moved there.
What part of Indiana?
I live in Brownsburg, or we have our shop in Brownsburg, and we live right outside.
Okay, I grew up in Indiana.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Have you experienced winter yet?
Yes.
I hate winter so much.
But the difference is where I come from, winter is even worse because we get,
worse?
We get a ton of snow and, all that.
I knew it was really cold. I didn't know. But also I feel like it's prettier where you are. So like if you have snow, you're at least like, oh, it's beautiful. Where Indiana, it's like, oh.
That is actually one thing, because back at home, in the summer, the sun never sets, and in the winter, it almost never goes up. So we have a little bit of a different...
I did not realize that. Yeah. I am geographically challenged. I should probably also
so
let you know
that. Yeah. But no, that's been a big difference coming here, because back at home, when it's dark, winter and so on, you have the snow to kind of light it up. So it feels, more like a winter wonderland. It's really nice. Indiana does not have that.
No.
So you don't really get that, but at least you don't have to scrape ice on your windshield every morning or, move snow in the morning to get your car out. So there's pros and cons with everything for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I grew up in Northwest Indiana, so we got the lake effect snow of Chicago, and it was just brutal. And that's why people are always like, don't you miss like that it doesn't snow here in North Carolina? I'm like, not at all.
Yes, exactly.
I hate snow so much. But actually, I didn't realize that because, again, my geography skills are lacking. Did you get like seasonal depression when there was like no sun?
It's very common where we are at because obviously it's dark for so long, and it starts getting dark in like, September, October, it starts getting darker. And then by wintertime, you only have a few hours of sunlight per day. And when you work inside, you don't get to see the sun at all. It's dark when you get to work. It's dark when you leave work. And especially the winters where you don't have a lot of snow and that, don't really light up. Because we have those winters as well where it's just like dark and nothing.
Cold.
Yeah, just cold. Yeah. So that's very depressing. So I usually feel like you're doing well when when autumn hits, because then it's like, oh, I get out my cozy sweaters. I have my little coffee in the morning, everything is nice. And then you're kind of waiting for Christmas to come around and, there's something to kind of wait for and you have some family time, all that. But then it can still be dark and wintry until, April. And those months are really hard. And especially for us that have a really long off season with racing. We start our racing season in May and end in early September. So there's a really long off season in Europe, which means that you're just working, you know, working on sponsors, working on your decks, working on different things to prepare for the season, working on your vehicles, whatever it might be. But you're not really getting anything back from it. So it feels like the only thing you're doing is working
in the dark.
So it could definitely get depressing.
Did you ever do like any of that red light therapy or any of that stuff?
We're not that fancy on that island. We don't have that yet.
You should like put your whole shop like red light therapy.
Yes, that would have been something to try
things.
for sure.
There you go. Look at that sponsor.
Yeah.
That is actually
Absolutely.
a true story. Look at it.
No, that is very true.
You heard it first on Certified Oversharer when you get a new sponsor.
Yeah, I will. Definitely, for sure. I'll put a little sticker there too, yeah.
So what was your biggest thing then when you came here that was like, whoa, I was not prepared for this?
Oh, well, there's been a lot. The food is the main thing for me. Like, I have always eat well, but it hasn't always been like by trying all the time, because we just have really good food where I live. So on our island, a lot of, if you go buy milk, it's from a local farm. If you go buy, you know, meat, it's from a local farm. Like, everything is like, I can look at the milk carton, I'm like, oh, I know that farmer.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I saw that cow when I was there working, or whatever it be. Like,
oh, that's
it's
so neat.
So local.
Yeah.
And everything is so fresh. And even when you go out to eat lunch at one of the restaurants or so on, it's made with, you know, local stuff. There's also a lot of things here in America that we banned in Europe years ago.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I remember when I came over here and I saw Diet Coke the first time. I felt Diet Coke has been banned in Europe for like 15 years.
What are these Americans doing?
Yeah, we can't even buy it. And here it's like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And especially with traveling so much as we do, you know, with racing, and you're trying to eat well on the road. It's hard. Like, it's been really hard for me. I've noticed that, like, I really, really, really got to try and plan and do everything in a way that I never had to do the same way in Sweden and when we travel along, because you just stop somewhere where you know it's good food and you have a healthy meal and you feel good.
Yes.
And my biggest thing has been that I don't feel good. Like, I feel that when I'm not planning and eating right and doing all that, like, I just don't have the energy that I felt like I had back at home.
Welcome to America. You're bloated, fatigued, and have gut issues.
And I'm like, why am I sick? What's wrong with this? And that's a big difference for me. And especially the part where you actually really, it's like you almost have to be, you know, a dietitian to understand over here what you're gonna eat. But back at home, you just ate, you know.
Yeah, you have to look at those labels and find where it's getting sourced from. So everybody makes fun of me because when we go to Brexton's races or even travel for Kyle's as well, I am known to have a cooler and I meal prep.
I
and
getcha.
I have everything. And so people are always just rolling their eyes at me because it's like, there's Sam in her lunchbox again. And I'm like, but everybody has healthy, clean food and we're going to feel better.
Yeah, and that's the main thing for me, feel better. Because a lot of people are, oh, you're afraid you're gonna, you know, gain weight. Well, that's not it. Like, I want to feel good. I have a race car to drive and I, you know, have to work out in the gym. And if I don't have the energy for it, everything just gets more complicated. And I'm not as fun to be around either. So.
And nobody wants gut health issues when you're traveling. That is not fun for anyone.
Exactly. So yeah, that's definitely been a challenge. And I've noticed, you know, just buying food here, everything is supposed to be fat free, but it's still full of sugar and other stuff.
It's just chemicals.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a key trick. If it says fat free, it means chemical full.
Yes.
That's what I always say.
Yes. So it's just a different attitude than what we have back at home. So that's been one thing. Then obviously in the summer, we're used to having, the sun is up all day around. And that was different when I came here too. And I'm like, well, it's June and the sun's set. Strange, you know. But you get used to that a little quicker. But that's
another question I have. So like in the summer in Sweden, are you like, does everybody have blackout curtains and eye masks and all the things, or do you just get used to it?
It depends a little bit on how like sensitive you are for light. I can usually sleep even though it's a low light, but everybody has blackout curtains. Like, yes, you do. And I mean, I've been to, you know, birthday parties in the middle of the summer, and you don't realize how late it is because you're sitting out and you're looking at the clock and you're like 6:30 in the morning because the sun is still up and you haven't realized that you've just been out all night.
That's awesome.
Or you know, you go to the club and then you walk out and the sun is still up. So
like, I'm confused. I don't know if I go to bed right now.
Yes,
I don't know what I'm doing.
It's very, very strange.
How is, you said club, so is the nightlife similar from like what is the compare and contrast to here?
I mean, I can't say I've been out since I got here. Like, I haven't.
Indiana's not really like a big happening club spot.
I think the only time I've been out in Indiana has been when we've been to at the PRI show. We always have a Drag Illustrated party that night that we go to at, I think it's called Envy, like a nightclub there. That's the only times I've been out in Indy. And I don't feel like I party as much anymore. Obviously, when I was younger, we went to the nightclubs back at home. We had one nightclub, and then at some point we had two nightclubs. And then there's bars, obviously.
Yeah.
But I feel like everybody wanted to go to the nightclubs. I think my nightclub life was mostly between, like, I don't know, 17 to 19. Because you at 18, you can get in to nightclubs back at home. In Sweden, you can drink when you're 18, like that's the legal age. So that's when you start to go. And I had older friends, so I could start a little earlier.
I did as well.
Yeah, you could always use their ID or if you just hang with the older guys, like usually you get in. So I feel like by the time I was like 20, I was kind of nightclubbed out. You know?
Oh, same. I remember when I went out to celebrate my actual 21st birthday, like all the bouncers and bartenders were like, huh, we've seen you here for many years. And I was like, I know. But
I remember when I was going to have my 18th birthday, and I invited everybody to a party, and the cover photo of the party was me in the nightclub having something, sitting with my friends and everything. They were like, what? Like, I thought we were going to do that tonight. But
you're like,
yeah,
oops,
no,
I just started
we were a little early. So.
I will say, I mean, Indiana's fun. You did not grow up in the cornfield bonfire days, but that was our, high school bars and clubs.
Yeah.
So it was fun. And now it's cool. Brexton goes back and races throughout Indiana.
Oh, nice.
So it's
neat
you
get
to kind of
go
go back
home a little bit.
Yeah, and family will come.
Nice.
So, but speaking of, I mean, I know you started racing at 8, which, I mean, I find that it's similar to what Brexton's done, and it's a different childhood than kids that don't start a sport so early. So what do you feel like? Did you feel like you missed out on anything? Do you feel like you gained anything? Like, what was that like for you as a child?
Oh, I feel like I gained a lot. I've been at the racetrack since I was 3 weeks old. So, now you can be 5 when you start junior dragster.
Yeah.
But when I started, 8 was the, youngest age. And I had been wanting it for a long time. My dad built me a car. But we were at the racetrack all the time. My dad worked with a lot of other teams, built engines, and, helped crew chief for some of the other teams. So even when the races, my mom couldn't come, my dad brought me, and usually the other racers' wives took care of me and braided my hair and made sure.
Now.
Exactly. So that was a great childhood, and I really think that when you're in a pit and it's everything from kids racing or just other racers' kids to racers that are 60 plus. It was never strange to talk to anybody. Like, as a kid, you walked up to anybody that was, dad's friend, and you talked to them. And I noticed when you started to be like a little older as a kid that my friends were not like that. They didn't just, talk to anybody or talk to the grown-ups, but we were so used to it because that's how we grew up. And especially in drag racing where, it's an open pit and everybody, it's not, hey, on this day, the kids race, or on this day, this age group race, everybody races at the same time. So I think you learned a lot from that, working with adults when you were a kid, and then also just being around all forms of people, learning to kind of, my dad didn't have time to always take care of me when we were out there, so he was like, well, go ask someone, go get help, and you go to someone and
I think it makes you a lot more independent.
I think so too.
And
100%.
social.
Yes.
I mean, we come from a very similar background. Like, I'm a homeschool mom. I believe in kind of being more hands-on than being in a classroom all the time. And I see that with my kids too. You're totally right. They can talk to adults. They could talk to kids younger than them. Like, they're not just with their own peers. And
absolutely.
Especially, I mean, my son, we had at a racetrack, he was 6 days old. And my daughter, I think, was not even a week.
Wow.
And they just love it. And even now, my daughter, obviously she's only 3, she's not racing, but it's her favorite place to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Her favorite. And it's so cool at 3, she's hanging out with, little girls her age, but she's also hanging out with kids, 10,
absolutely.
11, 12. My son, same thing. As you mentioned, he's learning so much from the adults, and they're more than willing to give him advice, and I think that that's such a benefit of
I think it's so valuable
being there.
And another thing is too, some of these top fuel races and big time races, when we were there, we didn't see any difference. I could walk up to any racer, no matter which class they raced, and ask how their day was going or share them on, and you kind of got the feeling that everybody's people and everybody's there for their passion. And it didn't matter, kind of what other values you had or how you thought. Everybody loved the same thing, and that's why they were there, and that's how you knew you could connect with anybody, kind of.
Yes.
So
That's what I love about racing.
Yes, exactly.
It is, I mean, I think it's just amazing to see, you know, I think as you mentioned, going up to anybody, I love like young kids will come up to Kyle when he's there and be like, can you tell me like, how should I do this? And I think it's so cool for them to have this opportunity to just go up to him and chit chat about that. And he has such respect for them. He's like, yeah, I will always help you learn.
Yeah,
you know
I
what I
love
mean?
that. Yeah,
so
that's really great.
But is there ever anything, I mean, and I don't know how many female racers there were you one of a few, or was it more 50-50? Like, I'm curious because I know what it is here, but how it was over there.
So when I raced juniors, we were 50-50.
Okay.
So it was never strange. When I raced over in Finland, it wasn't as many female there. So sometimes I was the only one or the only of a few. But when I raced on, you know, Norway, Sweden, and a lot of the other places we raced, we were 50-50. So it really never was anything strange, being, you know, women racing. I moved up to a class called Super Comp, or got licensed in Super Comp when I was 16. That's also a class that has a lot of great females that have, you know, won a lot through the years and so on. But then when I started racing bikes, that was when I really got to see what it was like to be kind of the only girl. There had been a few girls in the past racing, but never anybody that had won, never anybody that had, you know, gone really fast or set records or won championships or anything like that. It was also a class that was kind of called that, hey, this is the boys' clubs, because there was a turbocharged bike, 750 horsepower Hayabusa, no wheelie bars, run on a street tire. So this was like the rowdiest of bike classes you could find. It was high wheelies, they could spin, you could pop a wheelie out at like 1,000 foot, and they were really, really hard to drive, and a heavy bike as well. So a lot of the time when you saw females getting into bikes, they went on a pro stock bike, which is a naturally aspirated bike, where if you're light, that's kind of an advantage and so on. I didn't take that road at all. Like I went on that bike, which everybody says that, you know, this is not an easy bike to run.
How did you
shouldn't
choose
be
that
here.
then?
Yeah. Well, basically, I have never been that into bikes. We did a little bit of dirt biking, you know, when I was a kid and stuff like that. I didn't even have a street bike license, but my boyfriend started racing bikes, and I didn't race that year. So I worked on his bike, like I did his clutch, and I got to learn the class. And I really fell in love with that class because it was so hard. Like it was
a challenge.
Really a challenge. And it was such a good mix of having a good tuner to be able to make the bike go down track, having a good engine builder and, you know, chassis builder, you know, really get you a good bike, and driver. Because there are classes where there might be, you know, more electronics and it might be a little easier for the driver. But now this class has changed a lot since I raced it, but when I raced it, you could not have any wheelie controls. So, you know, if the bike kept kicking up, you know, you had to control that yourself. There was no safety aspect on that, nothing that, you know, cut ignition and took the bike down. There, you could not have any anti-spin, like anything that stopped the bike from kind of spinning out. There was a lot of things. You also had to shift by yourself. You were not allowed to have auto shift. Like everything had to be on the rider, which made it really hard to do it.
Wow.
And you had to be really good at it, which I liked because then it wasn't, you know, who had the most money or the best electronics or the
you could showcase your talent.
Yes, exactly. And it was definitely a team effort. So the more I saw it, and it was also the fastest growing class in Europe, and it was a pro class. So we ran with, you know, the top fuel bikes and the top fuel cars and, you know, the pro stocks. Like we were one of the pros in Europe. So when I started getting into that class just started escalating, you know, so many people building bikes, so many people getting into it. And when we started watching it, and even the first year I raced, I was starting to run a 7-second pass. Like that was my goal, to run a 7-second pass. And we chased that for, you know, the whole season. And by the last event, we ran a 7-second pass, and it was so big. And by the time I got out of the class, I had been 688, that's 215 miles per hour. And, you know, we cut a whole second in a few years. So that means that the class is going forward like tremendously quick. And by that time, I was the second quickest ever. And fastest woman ever on a bike, you know, on a drag bike,
That's
any style drag
incredible.
bike. I still am actually, like that's not a,
hell yeah.
We don't, you know, count records for women, but there's never been a woman that's been faster on a drag bike ever, any style. So they've been very close to us. I think they're gonna catch me soon because that record had been from 2020. But Yeah, I won 2 championships in that class. So when I won my first race, I was the first ever woman to win. When
That's
I won the
incredible.
championship, I was the youngest ever to win a championship. So there was a lot of like barriers that I was able to crush in that class. And that was the first time I really saw how it was like when people look at you and be like, you don't belong here.
I
And,
was going to
they
ask you
tell
that. Like,
Yeah.
how did that go? I mean, when you first went, was it like, okay, she's here, she's not going to do much, we're not paying attention? And then, or was it from the start that they were like, you're a woman?
It was a little bit of both. I want to say, I know we always say that like, hey, us girls should, stick by each other, but it was mostly the other riders' wives that had stuff to say. They did not think I belong in their husband's class, and there was like a lot of that I got to take, and obviously a lot on social media where they're like, oh, don't put a blonde girl on this bike, and they thought I was small. I was smaller then than I am now, but they didn't think I belonged. So I got to take a lot of shit from women actually on like getting into that class. I know some men gave me shit for it, but most of them, I knew what they wanted to say, but they didn't say it. I actually had a lot of people helping me when I got into that class. Like a lot of the other riders, they wanted to give me tips and tricks, and they were,
to see you succeed.
Yeah, and our bike, I was called the wheelie queen the first year I raced because we had so much problem with my bike. It
that's not a good
constantly.
thing. Okay.
Yeah, so and that takes away on your time, so it's not great. I got to really learn how to be a good rider though. I really got to learn how to control a wheelie and catch a wheelie and do all that. So it made me a better rider. But that whole year I got help from other teams that wanted to try and see if they could help us kind of get on the right track with it. But then when we started running better, a lot of these teams that helped us from the beginning, they did not like it anymore. No, they did not like it. When you started beating the guys, and the guys that were so far ahead from me before, and all of a sudden we're outrunning them and we're winning races, that they did not really like that. There were still a few that was really had my back. We built all our own engines and did our own race program and tuned in house and everything. And there was another team from Finland that we actually fought for the championship with twice, and it was came down to the semi-final round on the last race. Wow. They were always nice because they also built everything themselves and did. So I think it was
they understood the hard work.
Yeah, exactly. And I worked on the bike. I did the clutch on my bike and so on. So they saw how hard we worked and that it wasn't just. We didn't just buy a fast bike and get on it and we're lucky. Like we had really worked for it. So I think that respect was there, and that's why they were always, so nice to us. But there was definitely some people that did not like it.
Is there any incident that sticks out that you're like, I can't believe somebody would say that?
Probably. I probably just suppressed it, honestly. But when I came over, I actually raced that bike once here in US in 2018. When I came over here, I did have a guy come up to me, just a fan, I believe, or like fan of the sport, came up to me and said, well, what the hell are you doing here? Get back in the kitchen, and I can't cook for so I don't know what they want me to do there.
Like, in the kitchen.
Yeah. Can grab you a beer maybe. Like that would be it. So
It's terrible.
And you get those comments, like I still get those comments now. Obviously people online are bullies and not great.
Oh yeah.
But it's very uncommon that they tell you to your face. So those are usually the ones that that kind of stick out.
A lot of words online.
Yes.
It's just crazy. I never understood that. I never understood why you would put down somebody that you don't know. Like I don't know. People are.
Yes.
Have you ever had anything weird like online?
Oh my God, so much.
Oh, do tell.
It's getting.
Overshare with us. Do tell.
It's getting out of hand now because there's so many fake accounts. Like that's the first thing.
Yes.
So there's so many fake accounts and people keep falling for it. Even though they're sending you a message like, hey, my love. Oh, I love that you're a fan. You want to talk more privately? And they send their phone numbers and they start talking.
I never understand that.
No.
Like, I really don't understand. Like, people, like, they do that to Kyle, too. They've done that to me. And I'm like, do you honestly think, like, Kyle has, hours upon hours in the day to just, like, chit-chat?
Yeah,
and now we're talking about they make the, like, AI voices, so they think
so that's one of the most creepiest I've had recently. One of the guys that had gotten contacted by me, obviously not me, had gotten an AI video of me saying, hey, my love, you shouldn't be worried about anything we're doing here. I love you so much. I can't wait to meet you. And it looks like me. Like they're using photos of me, so it looks like me and it's my voice. And that is so creepy in my opinion.
So creepy.
And obviously that guy realized that it was fake and he sent it to me. But I'm also wondering how many others are there.
Don't realize.
Yeah, because that person also said in that AI video, like, I don't want my video out there, so don't share this with anybody. And it's like... Yeah, and I've had Like one instance was here in Charlotte actually earlier this year. Like I raced a 4 wide. I was in the car, like in my zone, getting ready. We were 2 pairs out, so they were about to like push us in. And this guy comes running up and he's like, I'm here. And I'm like,
No.
Who the hell are you? And
Like,
I might not have been in a best mood because I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Well, and you're also in the zone. Like this is race time. This isn't chit chat time.
Yeah, and I'm very simple. Some drivers, they, you can't even look at them when they're in their car. I actually, if anybody in my team or someone close to me puts their head in and talk to me, I am fine with that. I'm quite a simple with it, but not other people. Like not people I don't know.
Right.
And he like comes into my cockpit with his head and he's like, we've been talking online. And I get mad and start, you have a helmet on. I can't even like, you can't even see me, my mouth talking or anything. So I'm screaming in my helmet saying like, I don't know you. And he shows me on his phone that he's been talking to me, which is obviously not me. And I say, that's not me. Get out. Like, get away from here. I don't like,
you're like, I have a job to do. And now is not the time
and
or
then
place.
I had such a hard time refocusing because I was just mad. Like I was just sitting there like, why are you in my face when I'm like trying
about to go.
Run? Like I just have like a 12,000 horsepower car here. I'm going to try and, have a good reaction time and take down track. Don't come into my face. And he made it almost sound like, like, hey, honey, I'm here. He was coming there to support me. And
well, he probably thought you guys had a whole relationship.
Oh, yeah. And I've had that before. I've had people come up to me, at autograph signings, and they think we've had like a full-blown relationship for months or for like, 6-7 months. I had a guy recently came up. He had sent me $10,000 for flight tickets to go home and see my parents. And, it's not me he sent that money to.
Right.
Yeah. And we also have a big scam going on right now where they are scamming people that they are buying a week with me and a team. And they're flying to Indy. Like we have stopped 3 people just a couple of weeks ago from flying to Indy. I've been contacted by guys' daughters like, hey, my dad thinks he's coming to see you. It feels iffy. Have you talked to him? And I'm like, no. I do not know your dad. Do not send him here.
Do not send him here, please.
No. So like that is a
It is. It's
scary.
Getting out of hand. I just had a lady contact me. And she was like, hey, I wanted to let you know, unfortunately, like, Susan's in full-time hospice. Like, I know you guys talk every day and you've gone out to lunch so many times. And I'm like,
what?
Who?
Gone out to lunch?
So I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not. So I sent it back and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not sure who you think that you're talking to. And she was like, no, you guys hang out a lot. And, like, we know this. Like, I've heard your voice. And I was like, I am so sorry to tell you that is not me. Like, but also I was like, well, thank you, AI Sam, for being very nice. Apparently I'm very nice.
Yeah, like, that's nice. Yes.
I'm like, at least I'm a good AI person.
Scam people like mine are.
Yeah, but I was like, that is so bizarre. And that's just such a big reason. Like, obviously my son has social media account that we run, but I will not let him near social. Yeah. I'm the mean mom. He's like one of his only friends that don't have a cell phone. Yeah. And I'm like, no effing way. Yeah. No, not doing it.
Yeah. And I get messages sometimes from people that are mad that have been talking to me for a long time and then their account disappears. And then they send me a message and they're like, oh, you effing and you
ghosted me.
Yeah. And they're like, who the hell you think you are? I'm gonna out you so everybody knows what you are. And I'm like, I'll never talk to you ever in my life. Like, calm down, dude.
Do people have logic that, like, you race, you work on your stuff, you have sponsors, you have a marketing company, like, you have so much on your plate. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And a lot of times it's also, they just send their phone number and they're like, hey, I'm ready to date you when you're ready. And they send their phone number and they're, like a 70-year-old guy sitting at home just like waiting for me to call him. And I'm like, no, like I am not interested.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's just... I mean, don't get me wrong. I have some fantastic fans too, and there's some great people.
Yes.
But every time I'm at a racetrack and someone says like, "Hey, we've been talking online," I'm like,
"Nope, we have not."
Sure? I don't think so, because I do answer my fans on like my verified pages as much as I can. But if they say we've been talking, I'm like, who have you been talking to? I'm not sure. So,
and I always say too, like I talk to a lot of people in my DMs about hair loss and infertility, about this and that. If you ever think I'm talking to you about like money or
exactly
stepping out in my marriage, like you're not talking to me. Like, come on now.
100%.
I know you get it 1,000 times worse, but I also want to ask, so you've been talking about dating. Do we boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been together for a long time.
Oh, okay.
We usually it's not he's in my social medias. Like if you follow my social media for a long time, you usually know that like he's around. He's also in racing, so it's kind of been, I don't talk about it as much because the thing that happened a lot for me is that when I introduce him and saying that he also works on a race team here, people think that's how I made it here.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because there's no one that asks him, oh, do you work on a race team out here because your girlfriend also races? No, they don't ask that. Like their go-to is, oh, so that's how you got here.
You're like, no, I got here on hard work and talent. Thank you very much.
But I hear that a lot, and that's why like I don't make a big deal out of it because I don't want to be labeled as that's how I got it. Like I got my deal over here in US and moved here and then helped him get work over here. But the other way around too, like he's a great mechanic, so I don't want people to think that he got work just because of me either.
But
so
it also
it's kind
makes
of
sense, like this is your world. You live, eat, breathe, sleep racing, so it would be hard to find somebody. So this is why I always say, like, it's hard if you're not in the lifestyle to understand what it is. Like that amount of dedication 100%. And travel, it makes sense that you would kind of find somebody in racing.
Oh yeah. And I mean, he wasn't in racing. I was in racing when we met. So he kind of started, his dad had, street raced and done some stuff when he was younger and so on. But he always obviously loved American cars and bikes. That's how kind of he got into bikes. But I raced before he raced. So a lot of people, they also want to twist it to, oh, is that why you raced? Because he was in racing. Like, no, like, honestly, I probably got into bike because of him, because obviously I worked on his race bike and that's kind of how I fell in love with the bikes. So yeah, that is how I found the bike world of it. But other than that, no, it's like we're our own personality. And when we ran the bike team, he built all my engines, and like we had two bikes. He had one bike, I had one bike. I did the clutch for both bikes and, helped out with maintenance and all that. We shared a lot of that then because we owned the race team together. It was, our race team, and everything we did was, together as a team. So then it was logical to share everything. But now it's different because, the Top Fuel journey is kind of mine. And obviously he works in the industry and he's great at that. But I don't want people to think that that's how I made it here. I mean, I've heard it before where, they noticed that together with someone that's on a race team and they're like, oh, you slept with someone on a race team and they got a ride here. And I'm like, yeah, we met like a million years ago. That was not the...
never say that to a male driver.
No, I know. So
it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Tired of your sunglasses getting tangled in your hair every time you put them on your head? Shady Rays gets it. That's why their women's style feature tangle-free tech with nose pieces that won't snag or pull your hair or mess up that high pony. But they don't stop at comfort. Every pair is polarized, has 100% UV protection, and is built with the same high-performance materials as $200 designer shades for a fraction of the price. But here's the kicker. If you lose or break them, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a replacement. No drama, no guilt. So whether you're headed to brunch, the beach, or your daily errands, look good and feel even better in Shady Rays. Finally, an eyewear company that has your back. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use code OVERSHARE for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Let's be honest, some of my best stories start with, so I had a drink, and spiral from there, which is exactly why Big Rack Spirits feels like the unofficial sponsor of every unfiltered moment on this podcast. Whether it's the East Coast Cooler, Trailblazing Tangerine, or Rosie's Pink Lemonade, they make flavored vodka that goes down easier than your latest situationship. It's all natural, super smooth, and honestly, dangerous in the best way. No fake flavors, no mixers needed. Just pour, sip, and overshare. And maybe cry, obnoxiously laugh, definitely regret saying it all out loud. But hey, at least it was entertaining. Oh, and they're not just out here making delicious chaos in a bottle. Big Rack gives back too. Military charities, breast cancer foundations, real impact with every pour. So if you're gonna tell on yourself, you might as well do it with a drink that's worth it. Must be 21 or older, please drink responsibly. It blows my mind that it's 2025 and these stereotypes still exist.
Yeah.
I mean, not the same, but everybody's like, oh, you're married to a race car driver, you're a gold digger. I'm like, guys, It's been like 17 years.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
can we just,
Yes.
like, we got 2 kids, like, I
Yes,
got my own
exactly.
thing, but then I have my own stuff, and people are like, you are a terrible wife. Like, why
Yep.
are you not
Why
supporting
are you not just
him?
supporting him? Yes, exactly. So that's what I mean. There's a
There's
lot
no
of
winning.
no, exactly. And he's not, big on social media or all that either. So like, well, he's included in a lot of things when we do stuff together, we're traveling or so on, but haven't made a big deal out of it because for me, I can't take all that negativity.
Yeah.
And when we were in Europe, it was a little different too
I was
because we
going to
still
ask,
raised.
is it?
Yeah, so we raced still on like a hobby level when we were there. You were not hired as a racer. Like I had my own business. I brought in sponsors, and you kind of hire a ride with the team that, well, obviously they gonna have to want to have you there to drive, but I did all that, and then I came raced, and he worked on my race car. And it was more like, a thing we did together, and we had a full-time job, and then we went out there and did that. And I felt more okay with kind of sharing that because nobody would be like, oh, is that how you get the ride? Because they're like, no, you paid for the ride. We know how you get the ride. You
had
have the sponsors there and you
sponsors.
paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is a whole other thing because like now this is my career. Like
Right.
this is everything I worked for my whole life. And I don't want them to, talk about the fact, on TV that like, hey, Ida's here and there's also a boyfriend working. It's
Yeah.
and the same for him. I don't want him to have to. I don't think he would experience it as much as I do, but I don't want him to have to experience that either. Where it's like, oh, did he only get a job out here because she's on a car? Like it's kind of that. I want us both to have our own respect in what we're doing.
Well, and I think too that the big thing is you don't have to share on social, and I think that's
so true.
Like,
yeah,
people just assume if you are a public figure that
Yes.
every part of your life deserves to be public, and
Yeah.
I think it's fair to pick and choose, what goes out there and what doesn't, and sometimes
Absolutely.
that preserves like the relationship sanity at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that that's so nice.
Yeah, and I mean, we basically work together and travel together and, live together. So it's like, if I were to share that all the time, it's like, that's not really what my page is about either. Like,
Right.
I'm doing...
Well, you're your own person.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Now, speaking of, because I feel like Kyle and I are the same, you travel together, you work together a lot. Is there ever any challenges that come with that?
Oh, yeah, that is hard. I mean, we've known each other for so long, so we get along really well.
Yeah.
But we went from, like, when we lived back at home, I worked as an electrician for many years, and then I ran my own company for several years. He worked in Norway for a year where he was basically gone like 3 weeks and home for like a week and a half and then gone again. So like I could work around the clock. I could go work out. I could, eat at whatever time I wanted to. And, if I wanted to, pull a 18-hour workday because I had to, I could do that, and I didn't have to think about anybody else. It's a little different now because we went from that to all of a sudden kind of traveling together and racing together and doing all that together. And I still gotta work that much. Like I still sit up until 1 a.m. working back at home on my computer with stuff for sponsors and for everything we're trying to do. And he usually goes to sleep. So it's like it is kind of hard having that. It's a different work dynamic that everybody doesn't know. A lot of things are really great with it. Obviously, you know who you're rooming with when you get to the track.
Like that makes it nice.
Yes, exactly. And traveling is easy when you know people because you don't actually have to talk to each other all the time.
Right.
When you're traveling. So like it's nice and effortless, but it's definitely a challenge in many ways too, with everything we're doing and as hard as I'm working on trying to make this happen. And it's like right now, for example, when I travel to all these races where I'm not racing, he's not here, so then I travel by myself a lot, and then that can mean I'm gone for 3 weeks in a row instead, and he's home working. So it's kind of, sometimes it's super super intense, and then sometimes it means we don't see each other for a long time. So it's a little bit of both.
It sounds so much like the racing world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's
that's
funny.
racing
It's
for
like
you.
we're in very different racing, but it's so similar.
There's so many stuff that are still similar and relate in so many ways. Yeah.
Give me, and I don't know if you'll know this off the top of your head, but like most chaotic either travel story, race story. I feel like so much happens on the road. I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you have one that sticks out.
Oh, I feel like I have so many. I'm trying to remember. So just one thing that sticks out, just because it was so surreal, was we had the last race of the season in 2022. We had a shot at the championship with the top fuel over in Europe, but everything had to go right. We had to pick up point in every qualifying run, and we have to win the race. And, it was really, you had to have it all. We come into the race, set up, and everything is ready. This race is in UK. And then that night the Queen dies. And everything just stops. and they don't even know like can we run the race, because all the UK events have to be cancelled. But since it wasn't a UK event, like it was a European Championship event, we were okay to run it. But then everybody started saying, the stores are gonna close because they do that. So we gotta go and, make sure we have food for the whole week and, plates, like everything that we needed. We couldn't go shop in the morning. And then the whole atmosphere of that event, they weren't allowed to play happy music. So there were music around the clock, like in the speakers, but it was like The Rose, like, Amazing Grace, like, all
Yes,
the time. And you're
very
trying to get ready for like the biggest, most important race of the year. And when you're in the staging lanes, all you hear is sad music.
Like, oh.
And then it rained. And it rained and it stopped raining. And it rained and it stopped raining. We spent 8 hours in the lineup on Friday trying to make a run. And we got one run that day. And the track wasn't 100% dry. So when we both stepped on it, we both just slid. And none of those rounds counted. And we didn't get, to do a rerun. So I knew then, like, my championship was over because I couldn't pick up points on any of them. So you're sitting there and you lost your chances and you're trying to make the best out of it, and at the same time someone is playing sad music in your ear. Like it was just depressing. Surreal. It was very surreal. And sometimes when memories of that like pop up in my phone, we text each other and we're like, you remember the worst race we've ever been to?
Like, that was pretty darn awful.
No, it was horrible. We lost first round too. It was just, everything was just so
on a weekend that it needed to all go right.
The year after we had the other way around though, when everything just went right, but it was just so surreal to end the season like that, where it was just, I don't know how it could have been any more depressing. It was so strange. But I have a lot of times, when I travel, I'm not a lucky traveler.
Me neither.
My God, never. Like I was stuck. One time I was going to Boston from Sweden on a work trip, and we had a new hire with us. I had never met her. I met her at the airport, and my boss says, by the way, something's gonna happen because Ida is traveling with us.
That's what everybody says when I'm there. It's depressing to be that person.
Yeah, and it took like 30 minutes, and we get like a delayed message, and then keeps getting delayed, and we had a layover in Iceland. So we stopped in Iceland in the snowstorm, have to sit 4 hours before we could tax into the runway, sitting in the plane, just rocking back and forth. And then when we got in there, everything was just closed down. We got stuck 3 days in Iceland.
Oh my gosh.
So we got to see, Blue Lagoon. We got to go like, cool, it was nice. But that was the same thing. They see all these like beautiful photos from Blue Lagoon. They're like, oh, it looks so romantic. Who were you there with? I'm like, my boss and a new coworker.
Very exciting.
Well, it was a great, I'm lucky my boss he's great. So we had a good time. But, no, that was surreal. That was years back, but it's been a lot of that kind of stuff. And even with when I licensed in the Top Fuel, it was during COVID. I had to be 2 weeks in quarantine at the racetrack before I could start.
That was such a bizarre time.
Right?
It was so weird. So in NASCAR, this is so odd. Your family could go to the race and be in a suite with a bunch of other strangers. Okay. But we could not be in our own motorhomes together as a family, yet we were in the same car or plane together. Okay. I'm like, what logical sense
there
does
was
this make?
A lot that was not logical.
No,
about
and
that whole
so
thing. Yeah.
At one point, Braxton was young at the time, and he got a stomach bug, right?
Oh,
and so we're up in the suite, and he did eat like a hot pretzel and ice cream, and then
might have been it. Yeah.
So let's not say a stomach bug. Let's just say the child ate too much.
He got an upset stomach. Yeah.
So we're in the suite, and he's like, "Mom, I gotta poop," and I was like, "Okay, well we'll go here." He's like, "I don't want to go here." So I was like, "Okay."
Aww.
So I'm like, "All right." So we walk back to our motorhome, and I was like, "My motorhome's at the racetrack. Like this is my house. Like we're going here." We got in so much trouble.
Oh, no.
Like they came and they were like, the drivers have to be quarantined. And I was like, dude, we're in the same rental car in 2.5 hours. My kid has to poop. Yeah. Like, I don't know what to tell you right now. This is stupid.
Yeah, no, I get you. There were so many stupid things about like, that whole,
This makes zero sense. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, and also going back to being the worst travel person. So we fly out a lot on the team planes.
Okay, yeah, nice.
And so all the crew guys and from like every organization are there. And so there was a time that we had my son's friend with us. So anyways, the normal plane that we were on with RCR, they were like, hey, we're going to move you guys to the Penske plane. And I'm like, okay. And it's kind of the running joke with everybody else that like if I'm on the plane, there's an automatic delay.
Yep.
So we get on the plane that has most of the Penske guys on there. And I was like, we were talking about something and Brexton's like, oh, I'm sure we'll be delayed. And the Penske guys were like, no, we're always the first ones out. Like we are the best plane to be on, da da da. That day, it was like 50-minute delay to wait for fuel. And two of the Penske guys were like, please don't ever get on our plane again. I was like, I'm so sorry.
I got a feeling you and I should not travel
no,
together.
I was like, I'm so sorry. And then like the other, and I hate traveling. I hate flying. Like you are so brave. I am not an adrenaline person. Like everybody in my family is but me. Yeah. And so we took off out of Statesville and we're going and we start circling and I'm like, something's wrong. Something's wrong. No. And everybody's like, shut up, nothing's wrong. And they get on and they're like, so our landing gear's stuck. And there's some engineer from another team. And I'm like sweating at this point. Right? And I'm like, are we going to be okay? And he's like, why are you asking me? I'm like, you're an engineer. Yeah. And he's like, I don't work on airplanes. I was like, shut up and tell me anything.
Just tell me it's going to be okay.
Tell me it's okay.
Just lie.
And I was like in full blown like panic mode. I am not a good flyer. I can't drive for like I don't really know how I fit into this family at all.
I don't mind driving for a long time. Like usually if anything is like around 10 hours or less, I drive. It's just that it's so time consuming. So that means if I'm driving 10 hours, I can't work for 10 hours. Right. So I'm usually behind.
Do you drive or does somebody else drive? Are you like the person that always has to drive? Because that's how Kyle is.
Well, no, I'm not always that I have to drive, but it depends. A lot of times I travel by myself. So then I have to drive, you know. But otherwise it's like, you know, I don't really mind who's driving as long as they drive decent so I don't get sick, because like if I'm looking at my phone and someone drives like an idiot, like I will get sick. The brakes, I'm like, yes, that's the worst, when they keep hitting the brake, or you know, go quick, go slow, go quick, go slow. Like it's just like keep a pace. Like I don't care if you're going 50 or 150 as long as you keep the pace, you know. So, and same with flying, it's like I don't mind it, it's just time consuming, and a lot of times it's not the flying part for me, it's like the sitting at the airports. If I have to have a layover, I hate that because that always usually makes me delayed. It's same with me, a running joke that like I'm always delayed to go home. It's like sometimes I decide to fly because it would take 9 hours to drive, then it's gonna take me 14 hours to fly because of the delays. And I've had also we flew one time to UK, we get up and I'm like, oh, finally, like the plane left, like all is good. And 10 minutes in, they go on the intercom and say, well, we have or what you call it in English. Like they had something that was caught outside of the plane that was hitting the plane. So it was like a tow strap basically that was just like hitting the side of the plane. So they had to circle back, dump the fuel and go back down again. And I sat there and I was like, sorry.
You're like, sorry everyone, it's me. It's just me. Yeah. Oh, I feel you. That's like also now traveling with kids. I'm just like, sorry.
I'm happy I'm not traveling with kids actually.
Sorry. Like, and our daughter's getting better, but we had to go all the way to California when she was in like full blown toddler stage. Oh yeah. I was just like, oh man, I am so sorry everyone on this plane. And you're just, and I always feel like the parents are more worried and upset than the people around.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
true. We all have noise cancellation headphones by this time.
You're like, I'm so sorry. But I mean, every book and Play-Doh and this and that. But like, it's a long time. It is, yeah. She's also used to traveling like on the team planes, or we would go on our own. And she can get out and be in the aisle and like visit people. And
more space and all that as well.
And so she was just like,
we're not having it.
No, that was a long flight for us. But speaking of traveling, what's the coolest place you've been to?
Oh, good question. Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of great places in Europe when you travel. I've got to travel to a lot of cool places for work. Last year I went to Italy twice for work.
Love Italy. What part?
Nice. So I went to Misano, Lake Garda. I landed in Milan and then I went to Turin. So like it was really, really nice, like getting to go there for work and we were filming with Dodge for their YouTube series In and Out. So I got to drive, my Hellcat around, and in Italy, they will look at you if you're driving a Hellcat. The roads were not really wide enough for a wide-body Hellcat. Every time I went into a parking garage, I feel like I was gonna, scrape the car down. I almost didn't fit in any like parking space, and every time I started up in the morning, all the other cars' alarms went off. So
stop.
But I loved it. It was awesome.
That's hilarious.
It was just so beautiful. So that's very nice. Obviously, our island, if you've never been there, that's very beautiful. In the summertime, you can there's basically 10 minutes to water anywhere. So we had jet skis that we just, threw in the water after work on the summer. We
that's so
went
nice.
down, just threw the jet skis in. And then you can actually go like to small islands and just, sit there, grill a little bit, or just go to one of the islands that have like a little bar and a little restaurant or stuff like that.
How beautiful.
So in the winter, kind of in the summer, fantastic. So yeah,
I know that'd be really hard in the winter. That'd be really hard.
Yeah, we have like some fun stuff to do in the winter. Like the lakes freeze, so you can drive on the ice. So usually, like we always have studded tires, so it's like you can go out and drive like your motocross or your car or so on the ice. There's always someone that makes a road.
My son would love
and stuff.
that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So
they're such daredevils. There's like a park across the street, and we don't get like a lot of snow or ice, but it did ice over. And Kyle like hooked up a sled to the car, and they were like doing burnouts, and I was like, this seems highly unsafe.
Yeah, there's a lot, and it's, especially when we were like 18. Back at home, you can start driving when you're 18. I know it's 16 over here, but we're 18. We're
interesting.
18 on drinking, 18 on driving, not at the same time, obviously. But yeah, so I know then a lot of times it was like someone had an old car, I drove, someone else was in a sled behind the car on the open, road, like because the roads are also icy.
Yeah.
So you just did that. I've had one time, I know I had two guys behind me, and I thought I was for sure it was like a Y coming in. No, it was a T, and I came in way too hot, pulled the handbrake, like went on side, they just flew straight out in the woods, and I went like a little sideways in there.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. No.
But it's a lot of fun.
Is there anything being here that you really miss?
Besides the food, obviously, but I will say, so we have something that we call midsummer. So it's the longest day of the year. It's the day that the sun never sets, and then after that, it's like you're starting to get a little bit of more darkness in the night. You celebrate that every year, and you have like great food. Normally, you go see great friends, and we have like all these like silly games and stuff happening like those days.
Oh, how fun!
And everybody's off work, and it's just a really nice day. So when that happened back this summer, and I saw everybody posting photos from their like midsummer celebrations, you're like, oh, damn it. And then the same now in August, we have like the Swedish crayfish party. Like that's the normal thing. Like you have a crayfish party. I don't know if you eat crayfish, but like that is.
I don't, but I would try it.
Yes, so it's like we do that, and then it's basically everybody has funny hats on, and you listen to music, and you like decorate the whole place, and then you have like a ton of crayfish and like pies and stuff, and everybody just like eats and drinks a whole lot, and then you just have a great time. So stuff like that. I actually talked to my friends on FaceTime this morning, and they talked about like, oh yeah, we had a crayfish party just recently, and I'm like, damn it, that would have been nice.
That.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Okay, like give me. So you do have to eat fast food out here, obviously on the road. What is like your favorite fast food?
Ooh, good question. I mean, I don't mind like Chick-fil-A if I have to go somewhere. I think that's like, and they have like a little bit depending on what you want. You can get something that's a little healthier or not. Like everything doesn't have to be fried every time, like most of the things out here.
Is there one like really bad food out here that you're like, wait, that's actually so good?
Ooh, probably. I just can't remember. Like I can't remember anything right now. I'm trying to kind of variate what I eat too, because
sometimes I'm like a Wendy's chocolate frosty is actually pretty bomb.
I want to think that, but we have like our like ice cream back at home, I feel like is so much better than the ice cream I've had here and stuff like that. So I'm just like, damn it, every time I try stuff like that, like it's not the same. The same with candy. I love candy, but Swedish candy is good. American candy tastes like,
I know, I don't.
Yeah, dish soap or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's just, it tastes like chemicals.
Yeah,
so it's not my thing.
I know.
So,
I'm the like weird mom. We make all of like our own Jello out of stuff and all that. Yeah. And my daughter the other day, it's like weird to be like that mom, but like this little boy at the racetrack went to go give her a Starburst, and she goes, "My mom says we don't eat candy," and I was like, oh, this is so awkward. And the mom looked at me. I was like, I'm sorry. But whatever you want to do is totally fine. And like, I got like really awkward, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Like I'll still buy candy. It's like, I can get behind, like some Skittles or some, what do you call it, like Sour Patch Kids or M&Ms or whatever. But mostly like if I drive, I buy, have you had those like Boom Chica Pop popcorn?
Oh,
that is like sweet and salty.
Yes.
Like I like that. I like sweet and salty. So like I can definitely eat the whole bag of those if I don't like pace myself. You'll have to go to Chicago
and get Garrett's popcorn. Ooh. It is a mix. It has like the caramel and the cheese and some butter. It is so good.
I love popcorn.
It's
that
very
does sound
good.
really good.
Chicago, I will say, because you're not that far.
Yep.
If you've been there a couple times?
Well, I've been there for racing. And once
it.
when I bought my bike, I was there
worth
actually.
going. I like Chicago. Not in the winter.
I was there in the winter once. Didn't love it. It was very cold.
It's really fun in the summer, like Summerfest,
Nice,
but their food is like
awesome.
worth it.
Okay.
Though, I don't know, we got to go to Europe for our first time last year because during the Olympics, this was the first time ever NASCAR got like a 2-week off week. So I feel like everyone went to Europe.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, the food here and
It's
just
different.
the scenery. It was the most beautiful thing
Yeah.
ever. I was secretly asking you your favorite place because I'll be 40 this upcoming year and we're going to go somewhere. But I'm like too overwhelmed with decisions.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
I mean, where we live, there's a lot of like really nice places, but since we live there, you don't think about it. Like Norway is right next to where we are, and it's so beautiful. So like we usually think about, going to Italy or something that's further away, but we do have a lot of beautiful places right next to where we are too. But I really did love the Lake Como place where
that's
we were
kind of where
Like,
we're looking because we did
yeah.
Amalfi Coast.
Yes.
And so part of me wants to do like land in Milan because I love shopping.
Yep.
Then go over to Lake Como and then drive up to the Swiss Alps because I'm a big hiker.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that could be.
Oh, and if you're a big hiker, you would like Norway as well.
I thought that'd be really
Would-
cool.
Yeah, at some point you should look at that because they have some really nice like hiking places, and they have the big fjords. So it's like looks like a lake basically in between, but the water is so clear you
That's
can
what I wanna
see.
do.
Yes.
Well, and my family hates me. Well, it's most likely going to be not with the kids because, that's more work than a vacation.
Yeah.
But every time we go somewhere, I make us go hiking, and every time it's an epic disaster. So we went in Italy, and the boat people were like, okay, so you can get dropped off at the top and then do the hike, or you can do these stairs, and then it takes you to the hike. And after like a bottle of wine, because in Italy you don't get hungover, I was like,
everybody says you don't get hungover on vacation, so yeah.
yeah, in Italy I was like, oh, and so I'm having a couple glasses of wine, and I was like, oh, we're gonna do the stairs first. Like, of course we're gonna make this really hard. No. It was literally something like 2,000 plus stairs.
Yeah.
So we did that and then got ourselves lost.
Oh, no.
So we start the hike and somehow we meandered off the path. And we get to this point where, I kid you not, I have a photo on my phone. We are so high up. Like, I'm going to name drop here so I could give you a perspective. Yep. Michael Jordan's yacht was in the water and it looked like an ant because that's how high up we are.
Yep.
And we've lost the path, and we are on this narrow, I mean, it was no wider than my chair.
Yep.
And there's just a sheer cliff drop off. And Kyle just kept being like, certainly if we get past this point, we'll find the trail. Certainly we'll get past it. And Brexton is like flailing and running, and I finally like grab him by the shoulders, and I'm like, child, you are going to fall to your death. Like, this is thousands of feet down. This is not a game. We are lost, kid. Like, 7 hours. We were just
You know why that is so funny? Because I did a Cal and said the same thing when I was going orienting with my friend in school. And I said, sure, if we get around this, we're gonna, we did not.
Nope.
We got stuck on a cliff, and they had to have the freaking rescue center come in and grab us. Like, there was like a boat in the water. I think they had a freaking helicopter in the sky, and then they had to like come and put up something so that they could come in and like get us to climb up. That's what happens when I'm trying to show people where to go.
Wait, you and I should never travel together.
That's so bad. I'm like, when you're telling the story, I felt, oh, this is way too, this hits home way too much.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. So we ended up like back. So same thing. We got to the edge and got to this cliff, and that was it.
Yep.
There was nowhere else to go.
Yep.
And we just looked at each other and we're like, oh my gosh, it's 100 degrees. Of course, we have like a bottle of water between three of us, nothing else. And so we had to go all the way back around, and literally we got back because we had stayed on a boat. And my parents were on the boat with Lennox. Kyle and Brexton get back. Nobody's talking. Nobody's looking at me. And the captain was like, didn't go well, did it? And he was like, because you should have been home like 6 hours ago. I was like,
we dropped down and we couldn't get up because it was too high. We were also like, I don't know, 15 years old or something. There was no way to climb up because it was way too high. Like, we just jumped down. it's also a small island where we live. So obviously the newspaper came and took photos. So it was on the big.
How embarrassing.
Yes, like it was on all the covers of like children stuck on cliffs like in the morning. Like I have that somewhere at home because like my mom like saved it, and it's like a photo of them like, you know,
airlifting.
Yeah, basically, or like up over something, and I'm like, no, that's so. Yeah, we got a little bit bullied for that, but I'm not known for finding my way really well. So.
Me neither. I can't. I'm geographically challenged, as I had mentioned, but yeah, I'm not. I should never be allowed to lead things. It's like every time I do, it goes completely.
If someone else says this is where we're going, I trust them always, every time, because I know we're probably not going in the direction I'm going.
Yeah. Just going the opposite. Yes. We raced Mexico City, and I love to travel, and I'm totally fine going to like different cities, different cultures, and just figuring it out. And so I was like getting up in the morning, and like my, what is it? What's it called where it precedes you? You know, my reputation precedes me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like getting ready to go, and I saw somebody from NASCAR, and I was like, yeah, I have this whole itinerary, and I'm going to go to these vintage shops, and I'm going to go try this bakery. And they're like, alone?
Are you sure?
And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be great. And they're like, no, but are you air tagged? And I was like, I'm not worried. It's really safe. They're like, we're not worried about you getting stolen.
No, exactly.
It's literally just you.
Getting lost.
Yes.
Like, yes.
And literally, Kyle, like, air tagged. I had to wear one on my persons, and then he had one in my purse, and then he was like, I'm tracking
share
your
location.
Phone.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, I'm really okay. I'm not leaving this like little square of over here. But it was a really cool city.
Yeah, I got back from Mexico last week. We were in Ensenada for like the Baja 400. I was there with a sponsor, VP Racing, and got to pre-run the course with them.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was really cool. But when I drove, I was really happy. I had Mike in the other seat to tell me where the track was going, because I would not have known, you know?
Not at all. So one question that I think is always interesting, because people ask Kyle this a lot. Do you have any like rituals or superstitions or anything before you race?
I actually don't. Like I have a routine. Yes. So it's like normally I always put like my right shoe on first, like my right glove on first. I get into my racing suit right side first. And that is basically just because a long time ago, I was racing a guy on the bike. I put the right glove on. I literally did not care before that which one. I just put the right glove on, and he goes, the right glove first is the unlucky one. That's not good. And I just told him, I said, oh, okay, look at this then. And then like I won. And then after that, I just kind of started doing it.
Like, that's
kind of like
now.
A point or whatever. Yes. But now we haven't been doing awesome this year, so I kind of mixed it up. I've tried the left sometimes to see if it's going to help. Did not help, so I don't think it helped. But I had a thing actually years back when I raced a bike. The whole season I had a necklace on. Like I had a necklace, and it was always under my leather suit. Like I usually like sat and touched it a little bit, like so, not thinking about it. It just kind of became a routine. Yes. And then I had the last race of the year, and I was in the staging lanes, and I noticed I didn't have it on. I hadn't put it on that morning, and I was like, not a big deal. And then I asked my mom, I was like, could you run and grab me my necklace? I know it's not a big deal. I just always have it on. So she did. Like, she ran and grabbed it. I put it on. I crashed my bike doing 200 miles per hour and gliding on my stomach on the asphalt and just, like, tumbling like a little ragdoll there. And then I got back, and I was like, that necklace did shit and nothing.
Yeah, you're like, were you hurt at all?
No, just like a little road rash and, like, some banged up hands and stuff like that. But after that, I'm just like, if I wouldn't have put that necklace on, I would probably have been like, I should have had my necklace on because it was the only time I didn't have it.
Exactly.
But since I put it on, I came back and I was just like, superstition is just shit.
Yeah, like, none of this works.
Yeah. So I kind of just feel like I believe in routine just so you don't forget anything.
Yeah.
Like I do think it's good to do things the same way. Like I always try and do that to kind of make sure I'm kind of good to go with everything. You just don't forget anything. Mm-hmm. But I definitely don't care if something gets like mixed up or if I accidentally get another glove on first or whatever happened. I try to, it's the same with luck. Everybody's like, oh, if you do this, you're going to get lucky. I think you make your own luck.
1000%.
Like, it's, sometimes you do get lucky. Something happens with someone else or whatever, and you can get by on luck. But I think like the harder you work, the luckier you're going to get. Yeah. So I don't have any superstitions. Most drivers do.
Kyle does not.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
Kyle and Brexton don't. Like they are not like that whatsoever.
Because, I race with like Tony Stewart. Like he has a bunch of superstitions I've noticed when I'm over there. And I'm like, hey, I don't have any.
That's so fun. Actually, the boys are going elk hunting there. Brexton has been just wanting to go. He saw one picture of Tony's house and it looks like the inside of Bass Pro Shops. And so
and he's like, I'm going.
He's like, I'm going. We actually got to go to the NHRA in Charlotte, and Brexton walked right up, found Tony, and literally was like, can I come to your house and go hunting?
Oh, that's so funny.
I was like, way to invite yourself, bud.
That's so funny.
He was like, well, what? It's really cool, Mom. And so then I guess Brexton heard it was like for sale or something, and every day.
And he's like pushing you guys to buy it.
I was like, dude, no offense. I love Indiana, like my family there, but I don't actually like Indiana, and I am the least hunter person you've ever met. We are not moving to Tony's house. But
no, I get it, but he's probably gonna have an awesome time.
Oh, they're so excited.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm sure Leah has some superstitions too. I feel like they would be similar on that, but
no, Kyle and Brex, nothing. They just like, Kyle's never had anything. He just is always like, obviously wants to eat something like nutritious and filling before the race, and then he does go pee, like, so sometimes like he'll even be like, depending on how many sponsors you have and whatever, like he feels bad, but like it'll be like almost right around prayer anthem, but he's like, I have to go right before I get in the car, because when he first started racing, I mean, he was young, I think it was his first year in Cup, he forgot to go pee. And he was like, I was in so much pain. Yeah. And he was like, my guys literally, because he cannot pee in his car. Like, he refuses.
I mean, we don't race that long, so we don't have to. But I still do that. Like, I still go, usually, I have to go pee before I get in the car. Just because it's like if you know you can't do it for a while. Yes. And you also don't know. Maybe there's going to be a delay and you're going to sit there for a long time. But I will say, like, when we go pee in the lineup, there's always, like, the freaking porta-potties. And even if they're clean, when you do that with your race suit as a woman, it is so hard. Like, you gotta like
put it down.
You can't put it down. You don't want to have the arms on the floor. So it's like you gotta like it's a whole project. I promise you.
Wait, actually, this was my last question. Was it's certified oversharer. As a woman, is there any overshare story? So please tell us how you pee in a porta potty before the race.
Well, you gotta learn to like tuck your arms in, like for arms of the suit, like between your knees,
and then hold them and hover.
And then, or you're like. Even if you sit down, you're gonna have to like hold them there so they don't fall down. And if you like when you stand up, they can't touch anything. And then it's like it's a whole freaking thing. Yeah, because you don't want to have them on the floor.
No, ew.
Yeah, so it's if you ever need to go like when you're in the staging lanes, it's a whole freaking project.
I never thought about that.
And then the other thing is you gotta pull it down so far because you don't want like your underwear to touch anything either.
Well, nothing can touch. No. And you don't want to touch the seat. So you're like trying to be in a squat, and I didn't think about you have all that.
Yeah. So it's a project. It's a project.
See, these are
people don't even know.
You never think about. They're like, why is she in there for so long?
Yes, exactly.
What is she doing?
See the whole porta potty moving, and that's just me like trying to not touch anything.
I hate that. Like when we go to some of Brexton's races, it's only a porta potty, and bringing a toddler in the porta potty, and you're like, don't.
They're small enough
touch
as it is. Yes.
And then I'm like trying to like hold her up and like not touch any.
Normally the staging lane ones are all right, just because there's only the drivers normally and some like workers that go there. It's not like every fan and everybody's going there. But anyway, you don't want to risk it. You don't put it down on the floor.
I'm an Indiana girl. I will go out in the cornfield or the forest before a porta potty. And
I mean, I agree on that. Like, there wasn't a lot of porta potties in Mexico either. We found a bush,
I was like, give me a cornfield over a porta potty any day. I actually did that. Brex was racing, and it was such a cute track. It was literally in the middle of a cornfield, and they had 2 porta potties for the entire facility. Yeah. And I was like, oh hell no. And so Brexton's like, Mom, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going back to my roots, honey. And I am going in the cornfield.
Like, this is where I come from. Let me be.
People are going to see you. I was like, dude, this is how I grew up. Trust me. We are good. And I was like, hell no. Like, there was so many people in 2 porta potties. I was like, not doing it.
Yeah, when we were in Mexico now, when they were like, oh, that's a great bush. They're like, well, if someone comes by, they're going to see your ass. I'm like, well, they're coming by in 60 miles per hour looking for a trail. Like, if they see my ass, let them see it. They're not going to know who that is anyway.
It's better than another option.
Yes, exactly.
Well, perfect. I think that is the best way to end our podcast is porta potty talks.
The fancy life of racing.
Yes, the behind the scenes.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I had a great time.
That was such a fun episode. I feel like I learned so much. I mean, granted, did know that American food is so glad to know that everybody else thinks that way too. And also, let's just say if you think that you're talking to Ida or I online and that we're asking for money or giving you our phone numbers, we're not. So let's just clarify that right here and right now. But I also really want to thank you guys for commenting and DMing and sending suggestions on who you want me to have on the show. It means so much that you guys engage with me there. So as always, be sure to follow on @CertOversharer on all social media platforms. Like, subscribe, send it to all your friends and family on YouTube, and of course, listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great day, guys.